Hello, I'm Indrek, and I'm gonna do a comparison between Ducati Scrambler desert sleds and Yamaha Tenere 700s. I've been owning the Ducati for past 3 years, been riding around 15,000 kilometers on it. Yamaha is newer, have done 2,000 kilometers on that one. Why this comparison? Well, since these two bikes actually are pretty similar tech-wise on papers. Both have similar power output, similar torque, similar weight, similar suspension travel, similar ground clearance, similar seat height. You can think of and electronics similar. Price similarish. Yes, Ducati is more expensive, but not that much. I bought the Ducati at 2019 Christmas time, and since it's snowy around here in Estonia during that time, then I got a pretty good discount, and Ducati was less than 1,000 euros more expensive than Tenere. You can think of the Ducati as a naked adventure bike, and that's exactly why I've been using it, doing the Trans-Euro Trail here in Estonia and in Norway, Latvia. Yep, T7 is more capable on touring front, but on the technical stuff, the nice weird odd Ducati wins. So I'm gonna compare these bikes. I'm gonna go from front to back, compare different aspects, and I'm gonna concentrate on the Trans-Euro Trail aspect, how it would cope in moderate adventure settings and off-roads. So, starting from the wheels. Again, everything is mixed. It's not so clear cut. T7 is in most, yes, you know, it's in the classical 2180 wheels. Ducati is on 1917. You can argue that 2118 are better. Maybe, but I'm not that capable of a rider that I would be able to notice that. And to be honest, the 1917 is totally suitable for me, and it has this nice benefit, and the main benefit why I originally bought the Ducati: better looks for me, at least. I like the supermoto kind of aspect of it, so chunky wheels and chunky tires at the front. I mean, chunkier at least, as in T7, and definitely a lot nicer in the back. Previously I used the DKC 80s on Ducati. Right now it's I'm running the Motos Rally C's. The DKC 80s were even wider. Looks important to me. Right now T7 is running on Mitas E12. The Rally C's were out of stock in Estonia. So theoretically, on the off-road side, yes, Tenere has better wheels, but I would argue that Ducati looks better. Moving on, brakes, similar. Brake feel is very similar. Both are kind of vague on the front brake I like that Ducati has single disc, big large single disc versus this dual on the 7. They have similar feel as mentioned. Rear are more different. Both are numbish, definitely not something as crisp as my previous bike, PRC 400 SM. But yeah, the D7 is better. The Ducati is even more numb than D7. Suspension, that's interesting, and that's perhaps something that you do not get out of the specs right away. D7 has better suspension for traveling, even for gravel roads. It's very plush compared to the Ducati, but Ducati wins on the technical stuff. It's more capable on real bumps, jumps, and yep, and of course, kinda related to the wheels, it's better on the twisties as well. About the lights, out of the box, neither of them is full LED. Ducati's has halogen side indicators, and for some reason Ducati has halogen headlamp, which is pretty crap. Like, it doesn't illuminate that much, but aesthetically I like the Ducati one more. But out of the box, this 7 is better. Moving on. Controls. Interesting. Ducati has better controls on the top. Nice hydraulic clutch, fully adjustable brake lever as well. They feel much better as the D7. D7's stock clutch was too far for me. It didn't have that good position, so I switched it. Gonna switch the brake lever as well. On the upper controls as well, both are running heated grips. Ducati, D7 is running the common Oxford that is now being installed by the dealer as well. Ducati has Ducati own heated grips, and I must say that it was really difficult to switch to Oxford, since they are significantly chunkier. But the lower controls, there's it's vice versa. Ducati, being Ducati, has 6 gears and 5 neutrals, so it's quite difficult to find the neutral. I mentioned already that the rear brake is quite numb. Also, what I do not like, and what subtracts or makes it more, or that makes it less capable off-road, is that out of the box Ducati has non-bendable rear brake lever and gear lever, and the gear lever already is my third. It bends so easily when you drop the bike, and I dropped the bike. Moving on. Electronics, briefly mentioned, similar. Both only have ABS, but Ducati has this really crucial and beneficial upside here. if you if you turn on the engine from the kill switch, not from the ignition, then the ABS will remain off. In D7 you need to do some kind of trick, either stall the bike, or what I do now is that I put down the side stand. That way the engine is killed automatically and the ABS will remain off. ABS itself, pretty okay, I must say. Ducati has the cornering ABS. Whether I have benefited from it, rather not. I'm not driving that hard on tarmac and on off-road, like on unpaved roads, I have the ABS always off. Up, okay. This is okay. One comment about suspension, but this I guess you got already from the specs. It's more adjustable on the Ducati than on D7, and D7 is quite famous for having relatively budget suspension for its capabilities. The gas tank, fuel tank, nice metal here in Ducati, 13 liters, 16 in D7. Definitely smaller range, 220, 250 Ks if you stretch it on Ducati, 300 on Tenere. Luckily, most of my riding buddies are riding now the D7, so its range is enough for us. On my past trips I have been carrying a Rotopax 5 liter canister on the back here. We'll show it later. To be honest, I never had to use it, or like rarely needed it. So 250 Ks, that's fine. The engine on these bikes, I would say pretty similar on the enjoyment front. The D7 has been praised for having this nice and enjoyable playful engine that it does. Yeah, I do not object to that. Pretty nice. But so does the Ducati. And Ducati has the benefit that it is air and oil cooled, meaning it's not running that hot as does the D7. D7 goes really fast, over 100 degrees Celsius. Yep, it's right now on the stock catalytic converter, which has been removed from the Ducati, but I have never ever had issues with the Ducati running too hot. It has idiot lights for that. They've been running it in deep sand, low speed, high revs, in hot summer, no issues. Likewise, the D7 hasn't really gave me any troubles, but I know that it's running hot. Okay, one comment about the fuel, or like the fuel indicators. Both are sort of trying to show you the amount that's in the gas tank. Both are really vague on it, weird optimistic, not okay. You see that there's something in the tank from the indicator, but it's not accurate. Interesting difference is that D7 shows you the fuel consumption, but Ducati shows you the fuel range. Neither to both. To be honest, the fuel range is actually more beneficial, so win for Ducati on that front. I must say Ducati's engine looks apart, it looks nice. I'm very drawn to aesthetical arguments or looks are important to me, and D7 is one of the few bikes where the radiator is where having the radiator doesn't bother me. It's nicely hidden. Gearbox is definitely better on the Yamaha. You can nicely bang gears down, which is difficult on Ducati. Yep, its gearbox has improved over the time I have owned it, but nevertheless it's not as smooth as Yamaha. Exhaust out of the box, both are not running. Both have right now aftermarket exhausts. Tenere as whatever it came when I got it, but standard exhausts, I must say, again, looks goes to Ducati, but the sound goes to Tenere. Right now, that small Vinci that I have here, that's pretty decent. And Ducati Tenere is pretty good as well, although I must say it too needs a better pipe and full exhaust. A friend of mine is running Vinci's full exhaust, and it actually sounds better than the one on Ducati. Ducati has the TB killer in it as well, otherwise it's too loud. Okay, one comment about the stock exhaust on the Ducati. It had the catalytic converter down here, and there is a nice hole here, meaning all the mud went and got stuck on the catalytic converter. Not so nice. The seats, both are running like non-stock seats. This is the comfort option for Ducati, it's higher. Here I have the rally seat, not the rally edition, the full rally. And I must say it's more comfier on the D7. Okay, it might go hand in hand with suspension, which is more plush, but yeah, I tend to move around sooner on Ducati. What else? Footpegs, out of the box, both are decent. Ducati has a slightly upper hand. It has you can remove the rubber insides more easily, and okay, I have been removed the passenger footpegs, and you can run it so that you have the rubber insides on the passenger ones, and when you need it you can swap them to the front ones. You can, yes, on the 7.2 you can take out the rubber insides, but it's not as nice and easy as on Ducati. Right now I'm trying out the pivot pegs. So. Not convinced. Okay, perhaps a side note about reliability. That's one highlight, or like one major aspect for the 7 definitely. But the first 11,000 Ks on the Ducati were totally problem free. Only issues that I had were from my own mistakes. After laying the bike down and bending the gear lever or the rear brake. Those were the main issues. After that, I had issues on my last trip to Norway, but this turned out to be out of date battery. So brand new bike, 3 years. Battery got charged each winter. I detached it from the bike, but still you need to swap your battery after a certain amount of time. Now it got new ignition spark plugs and new battery, no issues anymore. And one of the main reasons why I decided to go to Yamaha was the aftermarket, which of course is much better for T7. I was choosing between T7 and the previous Touareg, which actually was very I liked it very much, not the looks wise, but what it offered. I liked the gadgets, the cruise control, various modes, split ABS. When I got that bike, the brochures, they were vague. When I got it, I knew and got first feedback from the dealer that okay, it too had split ABS, but nope, it didn't. If I would have known that, then perhaps I have bought T7 right away. But the T7's aftermarket support, that's superb. One other reason why I chose T7 was something that's missing there. Right away when I got the bike, I ordered GP Muchi's Tor skid plate, which I would say should complement the looks of this bike a lot. One really key point about adventure riding is luggage. I've been running, we'll attach it at some point, the Hepco Pecker's rear rack on Ducati and some Kriega side bags. Doable, but with Tenere you can use whatever you like. There's really a lot of options. I'm right now in the Kriega booth. Let's put it that way. What else? Gearing. Gearing is important. Out of the box, T7's gearing is better. Pretty fun, pretty fast. Here in Estonia we have speed limits where the top speed isn't that important to me. So whatever the T7 offers is pretty good to me. However, I definitely enjoy the acceleration more than top speed, and hence I have been swapping the gearing on the Ducati, -2 in the front, +2 in the back. I have gained 700 RPMs on the top end. I mean, like if it took 6,000 RPMs for 100 Ks, now it does 6,700 or something like that. That's from top of my head. I don't recall the exact numbers. but it's now behaving as it looks. It's more supermoto, more hooligan. Yep. Handling wise, I guess you know when you look at these bikes. Ooh. Yep. Touring, long distance. As I mentioned, long distance on the gravel. There, D7 shines. It has upper hand there. City, twisties, and as I mentioned, technical stuff on the off-road. The Ducati trumps. Ergonomics, out of the box for me, I'm 184 centimeters. For me, Ducati Tenere is better, but that's something that you can modify. I'm running a Pro Taper handlebar on Ducati and very expensive razors from Child's Tooling here as well, since I wasn't able to find like normally priced ones that fit this bike. And the SV Motec footpegs, those are on the lower positions on Ducati as well, and it is very comfy for me to stand up and ride that way and switch positions from standing to riding. Okidoki. Now this kinda sounded like praise or like oath to Ducati, so okay, it looks better, at least for my taste. I must say, I like the looks on D7 as well. And I sort of hated the Tuareg's face. It's not that ugly, but yeah, D7 is. So, looks better, does almost everything that D7 does. Why now the change? And it is, okay, and it's more agile, it's more fun, more hooligan-y. Sorry, I like that. But deep down, actually, it feels at home in front of the coffee in the city, the Ducati. No any explicit letdowns, but small things. Mentioned already the levers that try to bend when you fall, meaning it's not meant to fall that often. You get mud everywhere. Okay, perhaps if you run, if you use the bike where it should be used, as the name intended, in the desert, in sand, then it's not that problematic. But as you see, the outlet pipe, exhaust, that's covered with mud, that's baked in. Okay, actually that's not that big of a problem, it works, but nevertheless it's not as protected as something like this is. And one really big, not that really big, but really inconvenient item on the Ducati is that it has the saddle lock down here. Guess what happens with it on the muddy parts? It gets a lot of mud, and I almost broke it once when I tried to open it. Later on, I put on a duct tape patch on it, so the mud would not get in. Yep. In short, really nice bike, can't do anything, but the other one is more practical, and that on my last trip I felt that okie dokie, I need that robustness. It too has drawbacks, although they weigh the same, like pretty much similar specs. D7 is much more top heavy, and it's more difficult to pick it up, and it is quite nervous on higher speeds. That's something I hope I can mitigate by adding a steering damper here. Mirrors, as you see, I'm not running the stock ones. Don't like that one either. Both were okay, like out of the box, but yeah, here I'm using some ones that are meant for snowmobiles. They show something but actually do not work. I mean, like, you show just dots there, not really information. This one from off the road from Germany, that's a fuzzy noisy thing. We'll go for different ones. Yippity-dippity-dee. Nice bikes. Love that I'm able to ride on those. This one I will sell it. This one I will modify more and try to cope with top heaviness and enjoy the aftermarket support. Okay, thanks, take care.